Welcome to Shri Chakradhar Education. This is the complete guide to the IGNOU MBAFM project. Course code MMPP-001. The 8-credit project course of the IGNOU MBA in Financial Management. Every fact here comes from the official IGNOU MBA Student Handbook and the official MMPP-001 Project Guidelines. The direct answer first. MMPP-001 is the compulsory project course of the IGNOU MBA and all of its specializations, including MBAFM. It carries 8 credits. For registration, it is treated as one course, but in workload it equals 2 courses, and no additional study material is provided. You research it, you write it, you submit it. Here is the whole thing on one screen. Program MBAFM from the School of Management Studies. Project code MMPP-001. 8 credits. Semester 3. A report of about 50 to 60 double-space type pages, not exceeding approximately 18,000 words. And a project evaluation fee of 500 rupees. Almost every question you have follows from these numbers. Now the first correction, and it is the most expensive mistake in this program. Almost every third-party page calls MMPP-001 a final semester project. It is not. The official MBAFM course card states, in plain words, project report, 8 credits, semester 3. Semester 4 has no project component at all. Why does one word matter so much? Timing. The guidelines say the proposal should reach the regional center after you register MMPP-001, so that you get at least 8 to 9 months to complete the work before the 4th semester expires. Believe it belongs to the last semester, and you compress 9 months into a few weeks. Then wait 2 to 3 months for approval you no longer have time for. There is a simpler proof sitting in your own fee receipt. The official MBAFM fee is 16,000 rupees for the 1st, 2nd and 4th semesters and 18,000 for the 3rd. The handbook gives the reason in brackets. The 3rd semester has an 8-credit project. You are already paying for MMPP-001 in semester 3. So let us place the project properly inside the MBAFM structure, because a finance project is not a generic management project. MBAFM is 28 courses carrying 116 credits. 19 core courses of 4 credits each, 8 specialization courses of 4 credits each, and 1 project course of 8 credits. You register 7 courses every semester, which is how 28 courses fit into 2 years. These 8 finance courses make MBAFM different from a general MBA. In semester 3, working capital management, capital investment and financing decisions, management control systems, and management of financial services. In semester 4, security analysis and portfolio management, international financial management, equity markets, and management of insurance services. Your project topic should come from this territory. Now a correction almost nobody online has caught. Open the MBAFM table in the printed student handbook, and the 4 semester 3 finance courses appear with MMPH codes. MMPH is the Human Resources series which belongs to MBAHM. That is a printing error. The official MBAFM program page shows the correct codes. MMPF-001, MMPF-002, MMPF-003, and MMPF-006. Select the MMPF codes at re-registration and verify the current list before you pay. Now the part where finance students lose marks before writing a single chapter. Something quietly useful for MBAFM students. When the official guidelines explain the subject area box, the example they pick is a finance example. a project on the financial performance of a company means the subject area is finance. And the very first sample objective in that same document begins to study the financial performance. IGNOU wrote these guidelines with a finance project in mind. The guidelines permit exactly 3 kinds of study. 1. A comprehensive case study covering a single organization or a multifunctional area problem with formulation, analysis, and recommendations. 2. An inter-organizational study aimed at comparison across organizations, validation of theory, or a survey of management practices. 3. A field study, meaning an empirical study. Decide which one you are doing before you write, because your methodology must match it. For a finance project, there are 2 honest routes. The first is secondary financial data, working from published annual reports and filings with ratio, trend, and comparative analysis. Your sample is a set of firms across a set of years. The second is primary survey data, studying the perceptions of investors, customers, or managers. There, your sample is respondents, and you must show reliability and validity. Both are acceptable. Mixing them carelessly is what gets a proposal returned. Here is the trap that catches finance students specifically. Many MBAFM candidates plan a pure ratio analysis study and leave the sampling and statistics boxes empty, assuming those apply only to questionnaires. The official format offers no such exemption. In a secondary data study, your sample is the specific companies and the specific financial years. You state why you chose them, and you name your statistical tools, whether that is ratio analysis, correlation, or regression. Let us make that concrete with one worked example we will carry through the rest of this video. The title is A Study of Working Capital Management and Its Impact on Profitability in Selected Listed Indian Cement Companies, 2019-20 through 2023-24. It carries a finance variable, an outcome, a defined industry, a countable set of firms, and a bounded time window. It maps straight to MMPF-001, and it can be completed from published sources without waiting for company access. Now the step that decides whether your proposal is approved or returned: the guide. First, the order of operations, because most students get it backwards. The official process is: become clear about the field of work, contact and select a guide, and only then prepare the project proposal in consultation with that guide. The proforma must carry the guide's signature and date. A synopsis written alone, with a guide added afterwards, is not a synopsis you can submit. The eligibility criteria, exactly as stated. Management faculty in the School of Management Studies at headquarters. All approved academic counselors of the management program with relevant experience at the study centers. Management faculty with 5 years of postgraduate teaching experience. And professionals holding a master's degree in management or allied disciplines with a minimum of 5 years of experience in the relevant area. Note that phrase, relevant area. And here is the MBAFM specific rule that costs students months. The guidelines carry a direct note. Select guides who are active professionals in the relevant area of the selected topic, and if the topic is in the area of finance, the guide should be a specialist in finance. Guides are also asked to restrict guiding to their core specialization area only. 2 more numbers. A guide may not guide more than 5 students at any point of time, and the university pays that guide a token honorarium of 500 rupees. One document rule returns more proposals than any other. If you identify your own guide, a detailed biodata of that guide, signed in original and dated, must be attached with the synopsis. There is exactly one exception. In the case of approved counselors, it is not required. The guidelines are blunt about the consequence. Without the duly signed original biodata and proforma, the synopsis will not be entertained. Next, the synopsis itself and the exact route it travels. Understand what the synopsis really is. A gate, not a formality. The guidelines state that approval of the synopsis is necessary to proceed with the project course, and that only on approval could the project work actually be taken up. They also state the synopsis should be original work done by the student. Writing the report first and getting the synopsis approved afterwards inverts the process the university describes. The proposal must essentially have 5 things, in this order. An introduction giving brief background about the subject chosen. The rationale, explaining why this particular topic was chosen. The objectives, which the guidelines call the most important aspect of any project. The research methodology. And the limitations of the proposed project, if any. 5 parts, no more and no fewer. On objectives, the guidelines give one instruction most students break. Objectives must be expressed in a neutral manner, without any implicit assumptions about the findings of the research. In plain words, do not write your conclusion into your objective. Writing, to prove that efficient working capital management improves profitability, assumes the answer. Writing to examine the relationship between working capital efficiency and profitability does not. Here is how that reads for our worked example. To study the working capital management practices of selected listed Indian cement companies. To analyze the trend in the working capital cycle over the study period. To examine the relationship between working capital efficiency and profitability. To analyze the factors affecting the liquidity position. And to suggest measures for improvement. Notice the verbs: to study, to analyze, to examine, to suggest. Those are the verb forms IGNOU's own sample objectives use. Now a correction that explains a lot of confused students. Look at the office use section of the proforma. There are 2 separate decisions printed there, not one. Synopsis, approved or not approved. Supervisor, approved or not approved. Your guide is being evaluated alongside your topic. The guidelines confirm the consequence. If the proposed guide is not approved by the faculty, you must change the guide and submit the proposal afresh with the new guide signature, and it counts as a new proposal. One trap sits inside the enrollment number box, and it ends degrees. If your maximum duration of 4 years is over, you need to seek readmission before sending the synopsis. And there is a second warning. If your synopsis was approved on an earlier enrollment number, approval has to be sought again for the new enrollment number. And if you fail to do so, the project report may not be accepted. Old approvals do not travel with you. Now where it goes. For open and distance learning students of MBA, MBAFM, MBAHM, MBAMM, MBA-OM, and MBF, the synopsis goes to the regional director of your respective regional center, with MMPP-001 written prominently on the envelope. Enclose 1 copy of the proposal, the signed proforma, and the guide's signed biodata, and retain a copy yourself. 1 note on online submission. The LMS portal route is specified for MBA online learners, so as an MBAFM student the postal route applies to you. Now the timing rules. You can submit the synopsis throughout the year, but it should reach the regional center after the registration of MMPP-001, so you get at least 8 to 9 months to complete the work before the 4th semester expires. And there is a warning. If proposals are received after 6 months of having registered for MMPP-001, the regional center will not be responsible for their timely disposal. So the envelope has gone. what actually happens next and when. An important correction for anyone who has just received bad news. A non-approved proposal is not a failed attempt and it does not cost you the course. The guidelines state that in case of non-approval, the comments and suggestions for reformulating the project proposal will be communicated to the student. You are being told what to change. Most rejections are a vague objective, a mismatched methodology, or a missing document, all fixable in days. And here is exactly what a resubmission must contain. The revised proposal, a fresh project proposal proforma, a copy of the rejected proposal, the proforma bearing the evaluator's comments, and the project proposal number allotted by the regional center. Do not send only the corrected synopsis. Without the rejected copy and the commented proforma, the regional center cannot connect your revision to the original decision. Two situations look similar and are handled differently. If the guide is not approved or you simply want to change guides for any reason, you submit the proposal afresh with the new guide signature on a new proforma, and it is considered a new proposal with new biodata. But if the synopsis itself was not approved, you reformulate as per the comments. Attach the fresh proforma with the rejected copy and quote your existing PP number. Read the letter carefully before reacting. Your approval letter has arrived. Now the report itself. First, size. The report may be about 50 to 60 double-space typed pages, not exceeding approximately 18,000 words, excluding appendices and exhibits, and the guidelines add that rational variation on either side is permissible. Note that the word count excludes appendices, which for a finance project is generous, because your financial statements and ratio tables can sit in the annexures. Now the structure, exactly as the guidelines set it out. Introduction to the project and review of literature, with brief details of the organizations under study. Research methodology, results and discussion, summary and conclusion, recommendations, limitations and directions for further research, marked optional, reference or bibliography, and annexures and appendices, including the questionnaire used. 8 parts in that order. Within that structure, Chapter 3 is where MBAFM projects are actually won. The guidelines say results should be presented in tabular or graphical format, and that the interpretation of the data and findings may be given elaborately. Read that word again. Elaborately. A table of current ratios across 5 years is data, not analysis. A common failure is 15 beautiful tables with 2 lines of commentary. Invert that ratio. Now the part that gets reports physically returned. The final report must have a cover page carrying the student's name and enrollment number and the guide's name, along with the project title. A detailed table of contents with page numbers. All pages numbered as reflected in that table. The approved proposal, the approved proforma, and the guide's biodata. And a certificate of originality, duly signed by the student and the guide, with dates. Here is a rule so specific it can only exist because it happens constantly. The approved proposal must be properly bound in the project and not just stapled. The guidelines state it plainly. A project with stapled proposal will not be accepted. So the approved proposal, the proforma and the biodata go inside the binding, not clipped to the front. And a report received without any of these documents will be returned to the student for compliance. One rule catches students at the very last step. The final project report should necessarily be on the title approved by the evaluator, and no changes could be made while submitting the final project report. So if your data collection went a different way, or you dropped 2 companies from your sample, do not simply rewrite the cover page. A change study needs a fresh proposal. Fix the title before approval, not after. On plagiarism, here is the official position rather than the number that circulates online. The guidelines say the report should be free from plagiarism and should be the student's original work, and that if it is found to be plagiarized, action will be taken as per the policy of the university. You will see many pages quoting a specific similarity percentage as the pass line. That figure does not appear in the MMPP-001 guidelines. Treat originality as the standard. The report is bound. Now the final stretch, and this is where the biggest myths live. Here is the address, and note it is not where your synopsis went. One typed copy of the project report goes to the registrar, SED IGNOU, Maidan Garhi, New Delhi, 110068. In original, A4 size, typed in double space, in a bound volume, by registered post, speed post or by hand. And right on the top of the envelope, Project Report -MMPP-001, which is what helps the Student Evaluation Division sort reports across programs. Let us make this impossible to forget, because it is the most common mix-up in the whole process. The synopsis goes to the regional director of your own regional center. The final project report goes to the registrar, Student Evaluation Division, at Maidan Garhi in New Delhi. 2 documents, 2 destinations. Posting your bound report to your regional center because that is where the synopsis went will cost you weeks at best. You will end up with 2 tracking numbers and students confuse them constantly. At the synopsis stage, the regional center assigns a project proposal number, the PP number used for correspondence with the regional center. At the report stage, as soon as you submit, a PR number is allotted, and you quote that when corresponding with the registrar, Student Evaluation Division. PP for the proposal, PR for the report. Now the deadline myth, which causes real panic every year. Countless pages called the 31st of May and the 30th of November submission deadlines. They are not. The guidelines state the report can be submitted any time throughout the year. What those dates decide is your result cycle. Submitted between the 1st of December and the 31st of May, the result comes with the June term-end examinations. Between the 1st of June and the 30th of November, with the December examinations. Next, the fee and its timing matters. For MMPP-001, a project evaluation fee of 500 rupees is submitted along with the term-end examination form for the semester in which you wish to submit the project report. The Handbook notes this applies from the January 2023 admission cycle and that the fee may change from time to time. So it is not posted in an envelope with your report. It goes with your examination form. Now the evaluation rule, and MBAFM students should read this twice. For every other course, evaluation has 2 components. Assignments at 30% and the term-end examination at 70%. For the project course, the handbook says something simpler. Evaluation is based only on the project report submitted by the student. MMPP-001 has no assignment and no theory examination. Whatever you post is 100% of your result. And then the Viva, where the internet is loudest and least accurate. Many pages describe an external panel and a Viva carrying a share of your marks. The official guidelines say 1 sentence. A student may be asked to appear for a viva voce if the evaluator so recommends, and in that case will be duly intimated. That is conditional, not automatic, and no viva weightage is published. Prepare to defend your work, but do not plan your calendar around a viva that may never be called. And 2 rules almost no guide mentions, both from the handbook. First, you can apply for re-evaluation of a term-end theory script for a fee, but the handbook states there is no provision for re-evaluation of other components such as assignments, project reports, dissertations, and practical scripts. Second, improvement of division or class is permissible only in theory papers, and no improvement is permissible in projects, practicals, workshops, and assignments. Put those together and MMPP-001 is effectively one shot. On grades, the handbook uses a letter grade system and states that for successfully qualifying a course, a student has to obtain an overall C grade. The table puts A at 80% and above, B at 60, C at 50, D at 40, and E below 40. Many pages quote 40% as the project pass mark. The handbook's own rule is an overall C grade, so confirm the current position with your regional center. Before we recap, the questions students ask that are not about paperwork at all. First, recognition, because it sits under every other question. The official MBAFM program page states the program is AICTE recognized. IGNOU is a central university established by an Act of Parliament in 1985, accredited with the highest A++ grade by NAAC. The handbook also reproduces the UGC notification of 2020, stating that degrees awarded through open and distance learning by recognized institutions are treated as equivalent to conventional mode degrees. Is it worth the effort? On credits alone, MMPP-001 is 8 of your 116 credits, and the only course with no examination and no assignment between you and the grade. On career value, it is the only place in the program where you produce something of your own. Independent financial analysis with your name on the cover. The official MBAFM page describes pathways into corporate finance, investment analysis, financial consulting, and strategic financial planning. So choosing a project inside the area you want to work in shortens that transition. Let us close with the question students actually type into search. Is MMPP-001 the same code for all MBA specializations? Yes. The guidelines name MBA, MBAFM, MBAHM, MBAMM, MBAOM, and MBF together, and all use MMPP-001. How many credits is the MBAFM project? 8 credits, equivalent to 2 courses but treated as 1 course for registration. Where do I send the MMPP-001 synopsis? To the regional director of your regional center with MMPP-001 written prominently on the envelope. How long does synopsis approval take? A written communication regarding approval or non-approval is sent within 2 to 3 months of receipt at the regional center. Here is the whole video in 9 corrections. Semester 3, not the final semester. MMPF courses, not MMPH. The proforma approves your synopsis and your supervisor separately. A non-approved proposal is a revision instruction. Synopsis to the regional director. Report to the registrar, student evaluation division. The 2 dates set your result cycle, not a deadline. Evaluation is on the report alone. The viva is conditional. And there is no re-evaluation and no improvement for project courses. So what should you do this week? 5 things. Confirm on your re-registration record that MMPP-001 is registered in Semester 3. Shortlist a finance topic inside your MMPF course territory. Find a guide who is genuinely a finance specialist and collect their signed bio data. Draft the 5-part synopsis in consultation with that guide. And post it to your regional director with MMPP-001 written on the envelope. If you want to go deeper, 3 related guides continue from here. The MBAFM Synopsis Guide walks through the 5-part structure with worked samples. The IGNOU Project Format Guide covers page setup, preliminary pages, referencing, and binding standards. And the MBA Project Topics Guide gives topic banks by specialization, including finance. All three are linked in the description. One last thing, and we say it in every video. Fees, session dates, and submission routes are revised by the university from time to time. Everything here comes from the official MBA Student Handbook and the official MMPP-001 Project Guidelines. But before you post anything, confirm the current position on ignou.ac.in, on the Samarth portal, and with your own regional center. That is the complete guide to the IGNOU MBAFM project for MMPP-001. If this cleared up the semester question or the submission address, subscribe so the next program guide reaches you. For help with your own MBAFM synopsis or project report, message us on WhatsApp at +91 935 4 637 830 or visit ignouproject.com. This is BK Sahni, guiding IGNOU students since 2010.